So we're ready to kick off Season 6 of FM22 Mercenary, and I think it might just have been our most exciting job hunt yet. So I think we need to begin by catching you up because it has been an eventful summer packed full of job interviews and no shortage of contract offers too. So let's go back right to the start of the summer because we got offered our first job incredibly quickly. So where should we start with our busy summer? Maybe with our first rejection. You saw in our last episode that we'd applied for a job with Valencia, who'd been recently relegated to the second tier, but they were adamant that we were not the manager that they were looking for to take them back to La Liga. But around this time, Austria Wien were still trying to chase us for a new contract. We of course turned them down, but I think we left the club in a good position with almost 7 million in the bank, a figure that successfully repaired the club's financial damage. But we turned down their advances and a job offer swiftly jumped into our inbox. Because we'd had a successful interview at Belgian club Kortrijk, a club expected to finish in around mid-table, and we kindly delayed their offer because we had been to some other interviews, including flying over to London to meet with Messrs Gold, Sullivan and Brady about the vacant West Ham job. Despite securing an interview, Brady decided that Wayne Rooney was actually the man to take the club forward, but we weren't too disappointed because we were still holding the Kortrijk offer. But then there was another club thrown into the mix. We flew over to Switzerland for an interview with FC Sion. We watched the club train and met with officials, and just a week later Sion were coming in with an offer to manage their club. But we delayed that offer as well because there was one more iron in the fire. So we were very close to pulling the trigger and going to Kortrijk. We could easily have landed at FC Sion, but in the end, we went for another club that gives us the opportunity to win one of Europe's top divisions. But at this club, the expectation is going to be even greater because they're going to be one of the favourites. And the country we've ended up in is Romania, and the city is Cluj. We've moved deep into Transylvania country, to a city that boasts a population of over 320,000 residents. Cluj is renowned as one of the academic centres of Romania, but is also the home of CFR Cluj, a club founded by railway workers who spent much of their history in the lower leagues of Romanian football, but since the turn of the century they've won 8 league titles, most memorably in 2024. Who could forget that victorious campaign? In addition to their league wins, they've won the Romanian Cup 4 times, but a 4th place finish last term meant missing out on European competition and searching for a new manager. The media have us ranked as 3rd favourites for the title, and the board expect us to challenge as well as reach a cup final. But we're not worried because we've assembled a crack team of coaches, with Scott Thomas as assistant manager, Paul Patrick training the keepers, and Jackie keeping an eye on the players' fitness. So welcome to CFR Cluj, everybody. Now granted, we might not have attendances quite as high as we had in Poland with Górnik, and we might not be at a club with quite as an illustrious a history as Austria Wien, but make no mistake about it, this is a big club in Romania, and the board, well, let me tell you, they are ambitious because they expect a minimum of a top 3 finish, including a battle for the title, and they won't accept anything short of qualifying for the Romanian Cup final as well. So this is going to be a job where we've got to perform, but the difference between this job and the ones we were offered at Sion and Kortrijk is that we've probably got a squad that's going to allow us to compete at the top level, whereas at both those other 2 options, we were looking at a season of mid-table mediocrity. Not here. We've had to put together a tactic that's going to allow us to compete for honours from the very first game. So let's talk you through this tactic that we've created. We could make it far more conventional than it is now. We could move this shadow striker out to being a conventional right winger, but this guy is our star man. He is, however, pretty sulky because Brentford keep coming in with offers for him, and he would really like to go back to London where he's played before, but we've so far resisted any advances because I think this player is going to be key, and we will show him to you in a moment. But we've got some other strength in this squad as well. We're pretty decent all over the park, but we've got 3 really good central defenders. One of them is injured at the moment, but we've also got a backup that's pretty good as well. We've got a strong keeper, and we've also got a big bustling forward that I think can score us goals. So we've landed on this lopsided 5-2-3 formation. We're going to use it today in our game against FC Voluntari, and we're going to see whether it can get us a win. Before we check out the scout report, let's introduce you to some of our new players who are hopefully going to become heroes over the next season, starting with arguably the best player in the entire squad. So this is Otto Heinrich, a 23-year-old Romanian who's got 2 caps for the national team. He's 6'4", has got a big jumping reach, a good aerial reach, and at 23 he's already got a long history with the club and has been safely installed as their number 1 for at least the last couple of seasons. I think he's a pretty good player. The coaches agree with it as well, rating him as a 4-star keeper. I think we've got lucky in that we've landed with another really solid player. There was some interest in him when we first joined the club. That seems to have evaporated now, and that's a good job too because I think we will need him. Let's talk you through our back line now, starting with a player who is unfortunately injured today, and that's Bogdan Rakavatan, who's pretty good across the board. Unfortunately, his highest attribute is just 14, but he's very consistent physically, very consistent mentally, and as a part of a back 3, I think he's going to be a strong player alongside another couple of decent options. This is Virgil Jeter. He's another really strong player, good in the air, even though he's only 6'1", tough tackler, could be a little bit quicker, but he's going to be another decent option to play as part of a 3 alongside another of our strong defenders, Dennis Chiabatariu, who again, he's just very, very consistent, jumping reach as a 15. Another aerially very strong centre-back. Mentally, he's going to be very good as well. And compared to the other options we've got at the back, maybe a bit more of a ball player as well. Can certainly pass, has a little bit of vision. And that's the role we're going to try and use him in as part of this back 3. Going forward, the options are not quite as deep, but they are certainly reasonable at fullback. Let's start at right back with Vasily Mogosh. Another really strong player, a little bit aging at 33. The acceleration and the pace are not great, but other aspects of his fullback play are going to be pretty strong. He can slot into this wing-back position. Again, another really strong mental player, but this time we've got a little bit of technical attributes as well, including long throws of 18, so look out for those in today's game. Over at left back, I think we've got a more attacking option, certainly a quicker one, with pace of 14, but reasonable dribbling, reasonable crossing as well. Raul Operat, I think, is going to be another good player. The off the ball's a little bit disappointing, but we're going to see whether he can be a rampaging left back for us. And then in midfield, we've got a nice little blend. We've got some more creative midfielders than I think we've had at some of our previous clubs, but we've also got a good couple of ball winners as well. We've got old Nana there on the bench, 32 years old she is now, Nana. But I don't think Nana would let us down any time we brought her into the team. Reasonable passing, good work rate, bravery and aggression that you would expect from any kind of Nana. But we're actually going to give a start today to another veteran in the form of Lovro Cvek, a Croatian, 31 years old, just another good all-rounder, very, very strong. It's going to be pretty decent in the air. A lot of these technical attributes are reasonably good as well. Nice bit of leadership in the centre of the park, so we can rotate Lovro and Nana throughout the season. And then going forward, we've got some more creative options as well, such as Eduard Florescu, passing of 13, vision of 12, but likes to play the old killer balls, likes to switch the ball to wide areas. And again, mentally, Romania looks like it is a country made of people that are chiselled out of granite. But I think our best 3 players, apart from our goalie, might all be in these forward positions, starting with a youngster, Alex Cardos, only 18 years old, but very agile. The crossing and dribbling are good. He's got an ambitious personality. He's going to work pretty hard for the team. And as a right footer over on the left wing, we're hoping that young Alex can cut in and get some goals for us this season. But if he doesn't, I think we've got 2 other goal scorers in the team. This is our other star man. This is Catalan Suryan, who again looks like he could be a great player. 23 years old. Looks like he's been pottering around at Arsenal early on in his career, but Cluj have brought him back to Romania, and I think he could be a star for us this season. A good dribbler. He can take the penalties for us. He's pretty fit, has got good flair and good vision. I think as an on-rushing shadow striker, he might score goals, but he likes to play the killer balls as well. So I think he's a versatile option who could easily move out wide for us or into central midfield areas. But I think we've got another player that can score goals for us as well in the form of Gabriel Debelja, another Croatian. This is Gabigol, 29 years old now, approaching the veteran stage, but 6'2", incredibly strong, decent in the air. This is your archetypal target forward. The finishing and the composure are good. The off the ball is just about good enough for a striker at this level. He's looked great in pre-season in the few games that we've been able to play since we arrived, and Gabigol is going to be the leading man for us. We've got some other options on the bench, some of them pretty pacey, but Gabigol is going to be the man that's going to lead the line for us this afternoon. I don't know whether we're going to have a win to start off our time with CFR Cluj. Let's check out the scout reports because we're up against another manager who's freshly installed. We've been handed an away tie for our first competitive fixture in Romania as we travel to the outskirts of the capital Bucharest, where we'll find the town of Voluntari, located just 1 kilometre away from the capital. Local side are FC Voluntari, who play at the Angel Iordanescu Stadium and have a coach who's only 2 days into his reign in the form of Nicolae Constantin. Voluntari are an established top-flight side and placed 11th last campaign, and today look out for the tricky wing play of Claudiu Mikovski as FC Voluntari hosts CFR Cluj in our first game in charge. Okay, first day of the season and at a new club. How is this one going to play out? Hopefully we're going to have some stronger performances whilst we're at Cluj than we were able to bring you at Ostrava. We had a good season there, but we didn't really show you any of our good games. Hopefully the boys will get us off to a good start today. It's an away tie. We've travelled all the way to just outside Bucharest. We'll see whether the boys can get a good job done for us today. They've not responded to the team talks, by the way. Only Gabigol was in the slightest bit interested with anything that we've had to say. But let's see if they can reward us with some highlights during this first half. And here is our first one. We're in the maroon shirts. We've got the ball out to our right fullback, and it's fallen to one of our midfielders on the edge of the box. They've struck it, and it's clattered off their defender for an early set piece. We've got Morgosh, the right back, on the set pieces. We've got 3 towering centre halves and a target forward for them to try and hit. Unfortunately, on that occasion, it came to nothing. Okay, we're in again. We've got the ball on our back line. You can see these 3 pretty strung out across the back. And there's our playmaker Florescu onto the shadow striker. He's got it back to the right back. There is Gabigol. This is why he's got his nickname already. The big Croatian has been in superb form in pre-season, and he was in the right place to slot past the keeper on 39 minutes. What a great time to score as well. Takes it on his instep, places it past the keeper. Gabigol is up and running for the season, and so are we. Just before the halftime break, they forced a corner. We've nodded it clear, and if he commits to it, Gabigol could counter here, and he has. He's gone forward early, and here is his little strike partner. He's had an effort. Maybe long-range shooting is not his thing. Would have liked to have seen him take it on a bit further and try and trouble the keeper, but a 1-0 lead at half-time is certainly not a bad return. Let's see if we can G the boys up with their half-time team talk any better than we could with their kick-off talk. Okay, we're back underway, and we've got a few performances to keep an eye on, particularly from 2 of our players who we thought would be strong for us in advanced positions. The shadow striker is playing a 6.3, as is the young left winger Kardosh as well. So we're going to have to keep an eye on both of those. There are some options on the bench that we can use if their performances don't improve, but just before the hour mark, we're coming forward through our right wing back. He's played it back to the ball-winning midfielder, Cvek, who I think is a good option, and we can rotate with Nana, although Nana can also play as a centre-half. She's versatile like that, is Nana. And we're coming forward down the right wing. We've got Kardosh in. Can he improve? Well, it's a good effort. It looks like it clipped the bar, and maybe that might just ignite him into the game. We've now got a highlight for our opponents, though, and they're in our box, and they've actually done some damage because Andre Dumitar has got them back into the game. That goal came out of absolutely nothing. We'd looked pretty comfortable. And now they've just got a throw in, dinked it through to one of their onrushing players. And who are we blaming for this? It is Gita, who really should have followed his man and instead We're now tied at 1-1. Okay, we've decided to make a little change in personnel and in shape. Instead of playing Floresco as our advanced playmaker, we're going to bring on a player that Cluj signed on a free transfer just as we arrived. This is Dane Kasper Nielsen, passing of 14, vision of 14, another that likes those killer balls. And to accompany that, we're going to move Catalin out to be a right winger. He's not had a great game as a shadow striker. Maybe that's something that won't just work in a lopsided formation. So we're just going to bring him to be a conventional winger now, but I think we will nudge him up to an attack option because we are looking for a goal. And we've triggered the highlight straight away. Nielsen is involved twice. He's on the ball now. Can he play one of those killer balls that he's apparently famed for? Gabigol has gone down in the box. I think he was attempting a diving header. Instead, he's been clipped. And we have left Syrian on the pitch, and I think he's going to be our penalty taker. If it's given, it is given, and this could be big. We need to get off to 3 points. In fact, it's not. It's Debelia who's going to be taking the penalty for us, and he steps up, and Gabigol has tucked it away. 2 for the season already. He could be the man that we're pinning our hopes on this season, and this is a good penalty. It's low to the keeper's left. He's found the corner of the net. And on 66 minutes, we are back in the lead. Okay, Nana has just come on in midfield. Hopefully she can help us see the game out. But our opponents are attacking at us once more. Just see the game out, boys. They've fired one over the bar. Just settle everything down and see the game out. We've still got one more sub up our sleeve. We're going to make it now. We're in a tricky situation because we've got to leave Kordos on the pitch so that we've got a Romanian under-21 on the field, as you have to have one of those playing at all times. I think the other change we can make, although he's on a hat-trick, is just bring in our deputy target forward, Jovan Markovic, another decent option, not quite as strong as Gabigol, but certainly as a backup, not too disappointed with him. He's going to come on for the injury time of this game. We're into the highlights, and this one is one that's going to count. And here is Nana, thrown into action, off the bench this afternoon. We've played it along our back line. Nielsen in the midfield. Here is Kardosh. He's got the ball through to the backup striker, and that is exactly why he's not our number one choice. Kardosh finally got involved in some attacking play, and Markovic really should have hit the back of the net. But hopefully there's no more time for a riposte from Voluntari, although they are raiding down our right as we speak. We've slid in. These boys, great mentals. They're tough in the tackle as well, and we have done just enough to get an opening day victory. There we are on the touchline, still in our Austria Wien tracksuit. We're going to have to make that little alteration. But that's not a bad little performance for the first day of the season. And that's reflected in the table as well. Obviously, there's only one game gone, and we've got big sides from Bucharest and Craiova ahead of us in the table. But we've at least got our season underway with a victory, something that we can build on. And hopefully we'll still be in contention when you come back for our next episode. In the meantime, if you're on the lookout for an FM22 save, why not check out this video next? You never know. It might just contain the club that's going to be the basis of your next FM22 adventure.